So, the first topic we were talking about last week was the semantic properties and ambiguity, structural ambiguity, lexical ambiguity, paraphrase, lexical paraphrase, and structural paraphrase. Now, this week I'm going to talk about antonyms, different sounds, and opposite meanings. In my book, it's on page 176. The title is Antonyms, Different Sounds, Opposite Meanings. I'm at the same time creating a PowerPoint presentation, which I'm going to share on Facebook. Okay, opposite meanings. Yes, opposite meanings, different sounds. All right. Antonyms are the words which have opposite meanings, written and spelled in different ways. But there are three types of antonyms. The first type is complementary antonyms. Yes, the first type is complementary antonyms. Complementary antonyms, we have absolute opposites. Absolute, definite opposites. So, you are either something or you are not the other one. If you are something, you're not the other one in definite antonyms. For instance, if you're dead, you cannot be alive. Okay? Dead or alive.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Okay. Ece, can you still hear me? All right. She can't. So there was only one person and she is now out of the line. She's offline at the moment. Okay, so I continue myself. I think there's an internet problem in her connection. All right, absolute and definite opposites are, for instance, dead or alive, night or day. If it is night, it is definitely not day. If it is dead, it is definitely not alive. Okay, if you are awake, you're definitely not asleep. All right? If you are married, you're definitely not single. So these kinds of opposites are absolute opposites, which we call complementary antonyms. You cannot say, I'm more awake, or you cannot say, I'm more married or less single. You can't say, I'm more dead. You can't make any comparisons by using these antonyms, and you can't be the opposite one if you're something. Okay, if you're on this side, you cannot be on the other side, like dead or alive, married or single, night or day. Okay, you cannot be a little bit night, a little bit day, or I'm more dead, I'm more single. You can't make any comparisons in complementary antonyms. That's an important difference. And on the other hand, we have second type of antonyms. In the second type of antonyms, we have gradable antonyms. Okay, gradable antonyms. Gradable antonyms are comparable. You can say more or less in comparable antonyms. So you can say I'm bigger, I'm fatter, I'm smaller, I'm younger, older. If you can make a comparison, that's a gradable antonyms. So because making a comparison means you can make a grade. This is why you can give them a grade, like bigger, biggest, smaller, smallest. So this is why we call them gradable. Okay, so they are, in other sense, they are comparable, big and small, hot and cold. For instance, if you are hot, we cannot say that you can never be cold. You may be colder than something else. I'm cold, but I may be hotter than somewhere else. For example, if you say that 10 degrees is cold, but there's always a colder place. It's 10 degrees in Denizli today, so it's cold. But you can say it's 5 degrees in Ankara, so it's colder. All right? There's a comparison all the time in gradable antonyms. Fast and slow, or happy and sad. You may say, I'm happy today, but there may be a happier person. You may be sad, but there may be a sadder person. Okay, so these are gradable antonyms, and the final type of antonyms are relational antonyms. Relational antonyms have a relationship between themselves. A relationship between themselves. All right. The trick is here, these opposites have to be related to one another all the time. They have to be related to one another all the time, as you can see. I'm going to share this PowerPoint presentation with you, so don't worry. You will be able to see what I am writing here. Okay? So, they have to be related to one another. So these are, for example, give and receive. If there's no giving, there's no receiving. Okay? Buy and sell. If there's no buying, there's no selling. Teacher, pupil. If there's no teacher, there's no pupil. Or let me write student here. Not pupil, but student. If there's no teacher, there's no student. Doctor, patient. Okay, if there's no doctor, there's no patient, or if there's no patient, there's no doctor. So they are related to one another. Well, doctor-patient, these days, doctors and patients need one another very much. Okay, so that is these are the difficult times we are going through now. And I hope everybody is fine and everybody in your family is fine. Okay, I hope that there's no health problem in your families. Okay. Great. Now, I'm sorry, I missed my screen. So now I can see myself. Okay. Another type of antonym, there are other ways to form antonyms. For example, you can add a prefix "un." Happy, unhappy. You can make an opposite. Happy, unhappy. Able, unable. Fortunate, unfortunate. So prefixes, some prefixes may create antonyms like an, im, in, none. So these are the antonyms, but anti. These are the antonyms, but they are not categorized in comparable antonyms or gradable antonyms or complementary antonyms or other types. So they are not related to one another. Okay, this is all I can say about antonyms. Please don't forget, I repeat, first type of antonyms are complementary antonyms. So if you are something, you cannot be the other one. They are definitely opposites of one another. You cannot compare them. All right, you cannot compare them like dead or alive. You can never say I'm more dead, or you can never say I'm more married than single. If married and single are complementary antonyms, but you can't make a comparison between them. So that's an important difference. Gradable antonyms are comparable antonyms, so you can make a comparison between them. You can compare these two, and for example, you can say bigger, younger, older. So old, young, big, small are comparable antonyms. Or in semantics, we don't call them comparable, of course. We call them gradable antonyms, and that's important. All right. I might ask you to give me at least 2 examples of each one. 2 examples for complementary, 2 examples for gradable, 2 examples for relational antonyms. Okay. So this is all. And the next topic is anomaly. All right. Anomaly. Let me write in my PowerPoint presentation too. Anomaly. Right. Anomaly. Anomaly means no sense or nonsense. Anomalies, the sentences that contain anomaly mean that these sentences have no sense, or they are nonsense sentences. For instance, a very famous example: colorless, green ideas sleep furiously. So nonsense or no sense sentences or anomalous sentences, okay, anomalous sentences are grammatically correct, but semantically they have no sense. Okay, they are grammatically correct, but semantically they are nonsense. Anomalous sentences are grammatically correct, but semantically nonsense. So the idea here is that you can make a sentence all the time by using the grammar. Okay, you can create all sorts of sentences. You can create millions of sentences in a language which may be grammatically correct, but then they are semantically nonsense. For example, dark green leaves rustle sadly. Okay, dark green leaves rustle sadly. Okay, this can't be a sentence here. Dark green leaves. How can leaves, rustle sadly? Or how can ideas have colors like green ideas? And how can ideas sleep? And if they can sleep, how can they sleep furiously? So these are nonsense sentences. But when you look at them for the first time, you can see that there's no grammatic mistake in that sentence. So these are very extreme examples. Of course, this is very extreme, but in daily life, we see such sentences, and people, sometimes politicians do, or the experts on television do, so-called experts on television do that. They create a wonderful, ornamented, beautiful sentence, big words, and they seem to be very serious, and they seem to know what they are talking about. But when you look at the sentence and you try to understand the lexical meaning, semantic meaning, they contain anomaly. They are anomalous sentences usually. They don't have any meaning. Okay, now, anomaly are uninterpretable. Anomaly is uninterpretable. Anomaly is uninterpretable. Okay, please don't forget this. Anomaly is uninterpretable. You cannot interpret an anomalous sentence. If you can't interpret something, that sentence has anomaly. Right. After anomaly, we have a title. Idioms. Okay. Idioms in a language, you have to know a lot of idioms, a lot of proverbs, a lot of idiomatic expressions and phrasal verbs in order to say that you know a language very well. Because knowing a language very well means that you know the idioms of that language and you know the proverbs of that language. The more idioms and the more proverbs you know, the better you know that language all the time. So that's important. Make a list of idioms for yourself and memorize those idioms. Okay, I'm closing this session now, and I'm going to open another session in about 10 minutes. Evet.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Evet. Tekrar merhaba. İkinci session için. Şimdi de Sıla Ulutürk'ü görebiliyorum. Bir tek online olduğunu. Evet, Sıla beni duyabiliyorsan yazar mısın mesaj? Görebiliyorsan ve duyabiliyorsan. Okay. Sıla, can you hear me and can you see me? Can you write the message?